Hey guys, Katie here, and I want to go over with you all the different types of ICord edging there is. Everybody's heard of ICord, everybody has performed it at some point, and you either have a love-hate relationship with it. There doesn't seem to be too much in the middle. But I've kind of devised and streamlined the different types of ICord that I personally use. There are three main types: traditional 3-stitch ICord. Then I have a kind of stretchy 3-stitch ICord. And then I have a super stretchy 3-stitch ICord. Now, just because I work them in 3 stitches, you can work them in any number of stitches. But I'm going to show you how to do all of them. I'm going to show you comparison on a swatch. And then I'm going to show you on some blocked projects where I would use each. I am not a super fan of traditional ICord. I find it to be a little too constricting, even if I make it with a size larger needle. So I developed my kind of stretchy ICord to solve that problem. And that's the one I absolutely use the most. So I'm going to flip you around and we're going to get started. All right, we are all flipped around and ready to dive in to different kinds of ICord. Now, traditionally, ICord on an edge is worked in 3 stitches. You can work it in whatever size you want based on your project. You're always going to begin by casting on your extra stitches. Everybody has a preference for how they work it: cable, knitted, just backwards loop. Whatever works best for you, work it. You will not see a big enough difference for you to use anything but what you're used to. What I'm going to do is on these first 10 stitches, I'm going to show you a traditional regular ICord. Second 10, I'm going to show you my kind of stretchy ICord. And then on these last 10, I'm going to show you my super stretchy. So that way you will see each right next to each other. For reference, this swatch and the ICord, I'm going to use the same needle size for. When you're working a traditional ICord, to make it a little bit less dense and tight, they often recommend to go up a needle size. Okay, we're going to start. We have our extra 3 stitches casted on in whatever method is easiest for you. I just backwards looped these guys on here. You can knitted cast on, where you're knitting through each stitch, but instead of dropping this loop, you're just placing the new loop on, so on and so forth. Continue until you're done. You can cable cast on too, going through the center of the next 2 stitches. Any way, any method, I don't see a big enough difference with. So whatever fits that project. So we are ready to get started with our traditional ICord. I have cable casted on 3 extra stitches. So this is where my row actually begins. I have 3 extra because I want a 3-stitch ICord. Traditional ICord, we begin with a knit 2. Then you knit the next 2 stitches together. So you're working your 2 of your stitches from your ICord, and then you're working that last stitch together with 1 on your body. Then you slip these stitches back to your left-hand needle. Let's show that to you again. I'm going to knit the first 2. Then we're going to knit the next 2 together. Slip them back from your right-hand needle to your left-hand needle. Done that a few times. Now you can start to see ICord take shape. Now, notice I knitted my last ICord stitch with my first body stitch. I knitted 2 together. I'm going to show you when you slip stitch knit those together, because it will look different. So, knit 2. Now instead of knitting these 2 together, we're going to slip stitch knit them. So we slip one knitwise, slip the next one knitwise, then we knit them together through the back loop. Slip them back, knit one, knit two, slip, stitch, knit the next two together. There is a clear difference. These stitches were worked, knit two together. These were worked, slip, stitch, knit. There may be a time and a place where you kind of want a little separation in your work and your ICord to stand up from your work. That's when you would use a knit two together. A slip stitch knit will give you much more of a seamless look. I'm going to place a marker here. This is going to be where we begin our kinda stretchy ICord. This one's my favorite by far. It does require like an absolute hair of concentration, but I really, really like the edge it gives. So for my kinda stretchy ICord, you're going to work your knit two, just as you did before. Now what you're going to do is you're going to make a yarn over. Then slip stitch knit the next two together, as you would. Now, here's where it gets a little stretchy. As you transfer these back, notice you have 4 stitches. You will be dropping that yarn over. So anytime you make a yarn over, you're going to be dropping it. So we slip our slip stitch knit back, drop the yarn over, then slip our knit two back. Now the next set of stitches you work will be plain, no yarn over. Yarn over will be placed every other bind off. That way, it's kind of stretchy. So now we're going to work a regular knit two, slip stitch knit, slip all 3 back. Now, time for a yarn over. Knit two, as always, yarn over, slip, stitch, knit. We have our 4 stitches, our 3 stitches, and our yarn over. As we slip them back, we drop the yarn over. Now we're ready for a regular row. We knit two, slip stitch knit. Because we have 3, they all go back. Now, if you forget where you are, am I working just a regular knit or am I working a yarn over row? It's okay if you work a few back-to-back knits with no dropped yarn overs or an extra dropped yarn over in there. You're not really going to be able to tell in the grand scheme of things. But for me, it gives the absolute perfect amount of stretch, perfect amount of positive ease, perfect amount of give. Over here, it's ever so slightly coming in. And for me, that's not okay for me. Even if I work it in 1 needle size larger, then it looks a little lumpy. Don't like it. So this is my go-to ICord. Knit two, yarn over, slip stitch knit. When you're transferring them back, drop the yarn over. Then you work a regular. Knit two, slip stitch knit. They all go back. Okay, now I have my 10 stitches bound off. I am going to place a new marker so that we can keep track of where I am switching our different types of ICord. So now we're going to go into super stretchy. Basically all super stretchy is you are working one of those yarn over rows every single row. So you're always going to have a dropped yarn over. This will give you maximum stretch. And I will show you here in a second on a project where you would want that. So as always, we're going to knit our first 2. Then we're going to yarn over. Slip stitch knit. Then when we're transferring back, that yarn over gets dropped. Knit 2, yarn over, slip stitch knit. As you're transferring back, the yarn over gets dropped. We just do this every single bind off row. Drop the yarn over, transfer them back. So now we're going to check in. We have our 3 different ICords here. This first chunk was traditional ICord, traditional 3-stitch ICord, where this first half is where I took the last stitch from my ICord and the next stitch from my body and knitted them together. We'll sort of create little vertical bars. Then the second, I slip stitched them together. So I slipped knitwise the last ICord stitch, slipped knitwise the next body stitch to be worked, and knit them together through the back loop. You can clearly see the knit 2 together is a little bit unkept in a way. However, if you want vertical bars on your bind off, and I will show you on a project here in a second where that may be a design idea you want, you would go with knit 2 together. Otherwise, go with slip stitch knit. That will give you a much cleaner definition between your ICord and your work. So this is traditional 3-stitch ICord. Very snug, very taut. You can almost see the work coming in ever so slightly. Next is my favorite, kind of stretchy ICord, where you can see it is the same stretch as the garter that's worked down here in my swatch. I slip stitch knit all of these together. So the only one that I knit 2 together is up here, and you can kind of see it comes up a little bit, and it's ever so slightly unkept. Anyway, my kind of stretchy. We work knit 2, yarn over, slip stitch knit. Then as we're sliding back, we drop the yarn over. Then the next set of stitches, we're going to just work a knit 2 and slip stitch knit, as we normally would. Alternate those for the perfect amount of stretch for garter or for anything that has a little bit of give. I like that. Now, if you want super stretch, then you will work that yarn over row every single time. Now you can see where this is expanding ever so slightly. That's because you're adding an extra stitch and an extra row every single time. This, if you have a super stretchy piece that you know is going to super expand, or, as I'm going to show you here in a second, a pleated edge, this is where I use a bind off for my pleated edges. I use the super stretchy bind off and the pleated edges. My go-to is the kind of stretchy. Yarn over row, drop it as you slip back, then a regular row. Yarn over, regular, yarn over, regular. Gives me the perfect amount of stretch. I think it looks neat too. Definitely not a fan. I like the extra rows worked when you add and drop that yarn over, as opposed to just your traditional. Now I'm going to show you on some projects. So this is my Miracle Pill cowl, where the last thing worked is 2-color stockinette ribbing. So I wanted something, this is very stretchy, but I wanted something with some extra oomph and chunk to be able to support the color work and not come down on it or roll. That's where I used my kind of stretchy. Work 1 set of bind off stitches with the yarn over, drop it as you transfer back and then work a regular one. This gives the perfect amount of stretch. Now I'm going to show you where I use my Super Stretchy. This is a pleated edge. I am using my Super Stretchy bind off to allow the pleats space. I also knit these two together, and especially on these little stockinette parts, you can see the columns that are created as opposed to my slip stitch knit I did on this one. It's much cleaner. It just rests right with the last row worked. Where on here, we have our little columns created. And I did that. I liked the look on this piece. I like the look on this piece of a slip stitch knit. So that's the difference. Some people prefer this look. Some people prefer this look. Knit two together, slip stitch knit. So now you can actually see the difference. I want to thank everybody for joining me and seeing my top 3 kinds of ICord edging that I use and where I use them. Hopefully this is something you can put in your knowledge bank and reflect on it and use it when you need something that is structured but also has a little give. And if you're working something like a pleated edge, this is my perfect spot for the Super Stretchy. Or maybe you just want a kind of stretchy edge. Either way, they're there. And you got to see the difference comparing them to a traditional ICord edge as well. So if you've liked this video, please subscribe to my channel. You will get notified when I post a new video. And also, I have a podcast. I am the host of the Katie Knits podcast. Go check that out. And I do have a plethora of other knitting and fiber related videos out there. So there's something for everybody. I hope you'd enjoyed. Happy knitting!